One of the most common traits of autism is not being able to read the social cues. This can be small deal in some situations, but it is a very big deal in Japanese schools. When I was in second grade, I was first told my smile was disgusting and creepy by a classmate. So I stopped smiling for a year, I think, until the third year, because I was overly conscious because of that. And I think from about second grade, around the same time, people started to use very, very offensive words like kill yourself, die, as if it's nothing. But another autistic trait, which is to take in words verbatim seriously. So I started to think, why are you telling me to die? I didn't do anything. And people started to use the word retards as well, which is gaiji in Japanese, which unfortunately even some adults use these days. So I heard like words like shine, which is to kill yourself, or die, gaiji, together. So people suspected I was different, and they started to just tell me shine, gaiji, all the time, which is quite extreme. And as an autistic person, I took that seriously, and I was very upset. And unfortunately, it's a very common insult. Or some people actually don't even consider it as an insult. Some people don't even consider it as bullying when they say shine, gaiji, die, retard. What I hated about school the most was teachers didn't do anything about bullying. I was bullied, like particularly in the third grade, which I didn't even remember the reason for. I was constantly told to die every day by classmates, which I didn't know the reason for. They excluded me from groups. If they had to pair up for like PE class, I was the only one who was alone. Not only boys but girls were also telling me I was creepy, I was disgusting, just by existing, just by smiling, just by laughing sometimes. And these toxic situations, when I came home as a typical Japanese parent, they were so tired from working. My mom was a stay-at-home at the time, but she had no idea what to do. All she could say was, well, some people are like that, just ignore them. Maybe some kids will be capable of ignoring them, but I wasn't. I think this is particularly autistic thing. We have a constant thoughts running around in our heads, and we just can't just ignore. We take things seriously, even if you say it's a joke. We don't think it's a joke. I recently figured out people tell each other to die as a joke, and I still don't understand why, if it's an acceptable joke. Sometimes my shoes were missing. I was actually punched sometimes, but my teachers didn't do anything. And the school system in Japan, I think it's messed up because they're underpaid. But like if they teach at middle schools, the teachers usually have to manage clubs. So they were assigned to like clubs depending on what they're capable of doing. If a teacher played basketball, like in middle school, they were most likely to be assigned to a basketball club. So they are entirely free. They're not going to get paid. So like we typically finish classes at 4 or 5, and we go to like club activity in middle school. And I was told that the teachers were not paid for the overtime. So this is clearly something that's wrong. And the worst thing is they don't even go on protesting. I've never seen any teachers in Japan going on a protesting, whereas I've seen like many in Canada. And it's just not a thing for Japanese people to go on protest for some reason, for pay raise. They just don't do it. They just say it just nobody does it, so that's why we don't do it. Which they have the right to do it, but they just don't. So I that's why I'm telling Japanese school system is a very toxic, vicious place thing. Because if they're not getting paid for like many of the things they're doing, they don't care about the students. They're not going to care about the education very much. But I didn't know at the time, so I was holding the grudge against teachers for not doing anything for me. I was not the only one who was bullied. So there were some other people who were being bullied, but they were not getting the help. There was no school therapies or anything, counseling or anything. So like I was traumatized in elementary school. Middle school got worse because I think I've talked about this in other video of mine of autism. I think I belonged to a basketball club where I was bullied. Sometimes they hit my chair. Sometimes they threw my back to the street on the street. Sometimes they picked me up and they just threw me on the ground. And you might be surprised. It's not that while ago. It sounds like it's a while ago, but it's not that while ago. It's like 2012 or something. 2009, 2000, 2010, 2011, 2011. Yeah, which is like worst year of my life. So Japanese culture values nonverbal communication. It just they do. So people like me who are autistic have very hard time knowing the social cues, right? But in Japanese language, they demand that skill the most. If you cannot understand the social cues, you are just being called like a gaiji, like a retard. And another aspect of Japanese culture that disgusts me a lot is that they tend to make fun of the weaklings or the minorities a lot. Well, first of all, disabled people, disordered people with this mental disorder, they just call them gaiji, right? They even have racial discrimination, especially towards East Asian, like other Asian countries. For like Caucasian people, they have more positive impression on Caucasian people because they meet the beauty standard of Japanese people: pale skin, big eyes, uh, pointy nose, blue eyes sometimes. You know, Japanese people consider Caucasian people beautiful, which is why most people who love Japan, who would love to revisit Japan, like constantly go to Japan, are usually white people because they would usually have a very good experience. They would most of the time they would have good experience, whereas people with darker skin, since they don't fit the beauty standard, they were treated like awfully. Not so much for African people, but Southeast Asian people, they were treated very poorly. If you are Southeast Asian who have lived in Japan, who have visited, maybe if you have only visited Japan, you haven't realized, but like if you've lived in Japan, you have might noticed the discrimination from the Japanese people. And for some reason, as a nation, Japanese people think it's okay to be racist. So, going back to autism, Autism is a spectrum which varies depending on the individual. But mine is very sensory issues. I got sensory issues the most. So if you are a city boy, girl with autism, you have a very hard time just sustaining your energy. And also social cues, like I said, is a very challenging thing, and I think it's the biggest obstacle, and that's where most Japanese people will tell you that you are sometimes off or something. And Japan is a very collectivistic culture, meaning you are expected to act the same way as everyone else. So they have a high standard, one of them being reading the social cues, reading the air, read the room. Yeah, that's how you express that in English. And also just a level of education. If you don't know, like, some Japanese people like to use the word common sense a lot. Joshiki, they want to use that word a lot. To me, joshiki, common sense, does not exist sometimes because I'm on a spectrum. It's just how it is. There's nothing I can do, right? It's just how my brain is wired. So like sometimes I know like some things that many people don't know, and there are some things that most people know about, and I don't know. So just because I don't know the things that most people do, they would think I'm a retard or something. They call me retard. They just discriminate me. They just exclude me. They just only look at the one trait. Like, it was just, oh, like, you know, everyone knows this person, and I don't know sometimes. And they think I am weird. They make jokes, and I don't even know, like, what that means. Most jokes that Japanese people make on the internet, I don't understand. And like when I was in university, there was one, I don't even know if he was a friend, because like I had a hard time trusting people after him, because he was constantly calling me a retard. I don't know. I don't know. I was like with him, but like I think on Twitter, the mutual friend like posted some meme or something, a joke, and I was like to my post, I think, and I was like, what does that mean? And people, both of them thought I was a retard. I was He was like gaiji. I'm like, why? It's not even mental disorder. It's just about like ignorance. It's like I don't have to know the stupid internet slang or anything. So like people don't listen to me just because I'm a retard, right? They would think, oh, because you're on a spectrum or you're different. If I express my opinion, they don't even think it's relevant just because I don't fit the mold. So there you go. That's my experience with Japanese people as an autistic person. School life was awful. I have more bad memories than good memories in school, all the way up to like my high school was fun. Sure, high school was fun. I went to Canada. I re-entered high school. That was more international high school in Japan, in Osaka, but university was awful. I'm sorry. So elementary, middle school, university, like most of my school years were like nightmare for me. I was like felt like I was in prison, especially when I was in middle school, because you know it's a funny thing about life. When you're young, time drags, but when you go older, when you go past that, like certain age, like I don't know, 25 or something, it was as if split seconds, you know? So it's a funny thing, life. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I think the biggest part of this video was that people are not afraid of people, or people don't even care about using such offensive languages in like schools. The teachers don't do anything about it. They don't care about students very much, most of them. So it's a really sad situation. I mean, there was one teacher who cared about me deeply, but you know that was it. You know, I don't recall any other teachers who deeply care about me. So yeah, let me know if you have someone who's autistic, or if you are autistic yourself. Let me know if experiences in school life sounds different from your country, my country, Japan, from Japan. You know, I'd like to hear your opinion. I read all your comments. So thank you for leaving comments. And I will see you in the next one. Until next time.